What if the deadliest weapon in martial arts isn't forged from steel or tempered by centuries of ritual, but grows inside every human mouth? Think about it. A punch needs space, a knife needs reach, a gun needs line of sight, but teeth ask only that you get close enough to breathe the same air. For generations, civilized rule sets pushed biting to the shadows, calling it savage, dishonorable, or flat-out illegal. Yet the rumor of a Filipino style built around that very taboo Kinamutay has survived everything from linguistic backlash to VHS sensationalism to today's TikTok outrage cycle. Lovers insist it's the last, unfiltered option when you're pinned to concrete with no referee in sight. Haters dismiss it as a marketer's tall tale wrapped in gore. To find the truth, we'll trace the word's humble roots in the markets of Cebu, ride the wild VHS boom that catapulted one California fighter to cult fame, and scroll through the modern hashtag war that makes every grappler wonder, could one perfectly timed bite really flip a hopeless fight? But before the blood, the bravado, and the legal nightmares, we have to start with a simple Visayan syllable that travelers keep mispronouncing. Few foreigners say it right. Filipinos roll it out as Kinamutay, 3 soft vowels, a playful lilt. Strip it to the root and you get comet, hand. In the Visayas, hands aren't just tools. They're culture. They share food straight off banana leaves, knit fishing nets, count small coins in corner sorry stores. Add the feminine suffix a and you get handish or done by hand, a phrase mothers once used to scold kids for eating rice without a spoon. Over time, the word slid into street slang for messy. No rules scraps, the kind that break out when gossip about infidelity meets the humidity of a pre-dawn market. Locals called those whirlwinds Kinamutay, grabbing hair, scratching cheeks, and yes, biting arms when fists tired. They were real, but they were hardly a codified style. Old stick fighters even mocked biting as something only drunk uncles or angry aunties did when politeness cracked. Yet language is fluid, and one man's insult can be another's brand name. The day Americans printed Kinamutay on glossy magazine pages, the humble catfight of Cebu was reborn as an exotic hidden art. Those linguistic squabbles still rage online. Scroll any Filipino martial arts forum and you'll find Cebuanos rolling virtual eyes at Westerners who treat the term like a lost scroll from a mountaintop monastery. Some elders laugh, others bristle. It's just women fighting. They type, half amused, half offended. But semantics rarely stop a good story, and across the Pacific a new audience was ready to believe in anything that promised victory when honor lost its grip. And that's where a charismatic Californian named Paul Vunak sinks his teeth into the narrative. Vunak hit the late 1980s martial arts scene like a lit fuse. A direct student of Dan Inosanto, Bruce Lee's most famous G. Vunak combined GAKD principles with street rhetoric that felt ripped from a crime thriller voiceover. In 1988, Black Belt magazine ran his piece Kali's Most Dangerous Weapons, and right there, nestled between stick disarms and knife flurries, lurked a headline that dared polite readers to flinch: Kinamutay, the art of biting, gouging, and ripping flesh. By the time Vunak released a trilogy of VHS tapes, grainy footage of bare-chested students gnawing raw steak through t-shirts, the letters Kinomutay had imprinted themselves on every dojo bulletin board, chasing that real-world edge. The tapes sold because they terrified. No sports glove could parry a molar-crunching cartilage. No referee whistle could stop an ear from tearing in slow, awful silence. In seminars, Vunak demoed jaw angles the way boxers demo jabs, and eager weekend warriors lined up to chew cotton-wrapped flank steak until their cheeks ached and their smiles bled pink. Yet hype courts backlash like a magnet. Police blotters later surfaced due as under Vunak's name. Online critics leaked restraining order details and alleged unpaid affiliates. Some accused him of marketing fear itself, turning primal panic into dollar signs. Vunak fired back in punchy interviews: "I don't teach for tournaments, I teach to get you home alive." At the same time, respected instructors who'd learned alongside him vouched for the material's ugly effectiveness, insisting they'd use bites to survive bar brawls or military scuffles no judge would ever referee. The feud painted Kinamutay as both salvation and scam, and that binary fueled its legend even more. But outside the courtroom drama, the system's cold mechanics developed with almost academic rigor. Picture a human chessboard of 15 positions, though most schools simplify to 12 for easy recall. Closed guard, mount, side control, rear seatbelt, butterfly. Every spot grapplers love or hate gets its own quartet of entries, each entry a roadmap to latch a bite for a precious 3 to 5 seconds. Count with me: cross face stretch, inside bicep crush, arterial neck grip, flesh rip with progressive tearing. They sound medieval, but they're disgustingly precise. Coaches drill students to chew in circles, not chomp ones, because each micro tear widens under stress and bleeds more than a clean puncture. They teach jaw rotation that recruits neck flexors so molars don't gas out. They pair every bite with a pain distractor. Thumb digs the infraorbital notch. Knuckles rake ribs. Knees ride nerve bundles on adductor mulches because agony multiplies when nerves fire from 2 angles at once. The conditioning looks like performance art gone wrong. Newbies freeze a pound of cheap beef, thaw it just enough to flex, then duct tape it inside a thrift store tee. Partner braces in mount, counts down, and the biter has 30 seconds to chew a hole you could push a pencil through. It bruises jaws and scrapes gums, but after a month of practice, the average practitioner can shred cotton and meat like a paper towel. Advanced drills swap beef for pig skin, thicker, tougher, closer to human dermis, and add scenario stressors, flashing strobe lights, heavy metal decibels, teammates screaming insults to spike heart rate. The goal isn't masochism, it's inoculation. If you ever have to sink teeth in real chaos, your nervous system must recognize the sensation as déjà vu, not shock. But mastery brings a bill no health insurer wants to pay. Her physicians call human bites mini injections of septic soup. Saliva carries more bacterial species than an unflossed Petri dish. If a tooth breaks skin, infection risk jumps to 1 in 4. If it punches knuckle or joint capsule, surgeons sometimes crack the wound open like a clam and irrigate until bone flashes white. The CDC logs a handful of HIV transmissions from bites, rare but real, each one tied to severe tissue ripping and blood-to-blood exchange. More common are polymicrobial storms, staph, strep, Icannula corrodens that chews tendons into mush. Hospitals treat serious bites like gunshot wounds of antibiotics, tetanus booster, sometimes antiretrovirals that make patients vomit for weeks. Survival, yes, but at a cost that might rival the street mugger's stolen wallet. Then comes the courtroom. Most U.S. jurisdictions elevate a deliberate, injury-causing bite to aggravated assault, the same bracket as clubbing someone with a tire iron. Some states tag it mayhem if it disfigures. Prosecutors love surveillance footage. Defense attorneys hate how primal biting appears to juries. You can argue self-defense all day, but if the video shows the other guy wobbling and you leaning in for what looks like a cannibal nibble, the optics alone could swing a verdict. Trainers recite a mantra: teeth are bullets, deploy only when you'd rather face a judge than a morgue. Still, fear of prison hasn't slowed the hashtag surge one bit. Search Kinamutay on TikTok and you'll meet college wrestlers and rash guards filming bite escapes from wrestler-s ride. Views climb by 6 figures overnight because the footage feels half horror, half prank. Influencers stage Can We Peel Him? Challenges: one athlete sinks a cheek bite, the other scrambles, timer ticks. Comment sections explode with choke emojis and flame wars. Fake. He's cooperating. Bursts right next to just tried on my boyfriend works in Spanish, Portuguese, Tagalog, and Russian. The same debate cycle, dirty but real vs. marketing fantasy. Meanwhile, seminar at Sprout like weeds, 2-day survival modules bundling bites, eye flicks, and soft target knees. The price tag, often triple a normal weekend grappling camp, comes wrapped in disclaimers thicker than a phone book for life-threatening scenarios only. Yet spots sell out, especially among nurses, rideshare drivers, and solo travelers headed to nightlife hot zones. Fear, once again, sells. And yet numbers don't equal truth. Does a bite beat a blast double in the rain? Supporters point to visceral anecdotes. A Manila jeepney CCTV clip shows a scrawny passenger trapped in a rear choke. His last gasp is a bite on the attacker's forearm so sudden that blood splatters the window. The attacker recoils, door swings, victim escapes into traffic. No ref, no rules, just teeth buying life. Bouncers in Caribbean party towns tell stories of petite tourists pinching triceps nerves, then chomping a shoulder mole, sending roided men howling to the curb. On paper, these tales prove nothing. To the scared, they prove everything. Skeptics counter with science. Pain tolerance rockets under adrenaline. They argue, a seasoned grappler with thick neck musculature can pry open a jaw by torquing ears or jawline. They cite lab studies showing human bite force averages 160 size strong. Yes, but less than a German Shepherd's 238. They dissect viral clips frame by frame, highlighting how victims pause just long enough for the biter to adjust head angle, a cooperation that would vanish in genuine violence. Their mantra, if biting solved positional dominance, hyenas would headline UFC cards. But even the loudest critic concedes a psychological edge. The taboo alone can freeze an untrained thug or, at minimum, distract him long enough for you to scramble upright. Most sober instructors steer a middle course. They treat Kinamutay as a force multiplier, something you layer onto fundamental movement, not replace it. They teach students to first frame, shrimp, bridge every normal escape, then, if crushed under a heavier torso and running out of oxygen, to use teeth as a short, brutal window to regain movement. They insist you memorize state statutes, carry mouthwash, file nails, and keep dental insurance paid up. Because once skin tears, there's no tidy tap out. There's paperwork, made in jail, and almost certainly scars that hype videos never show. And that bitter practicality is why Kinamutay refuses to fade. It is minuscule in curriculum hours, maybe 10 out of the hundreds, a serious fighter logs, yet enormous in emotional gravity. It reminds rule-bound athletes that beneath layered skill lurks a primate wired to survive by any means. Its real power isn't the sigh of a molar. It's the nightmare it plants in an aggressor as hindbrain. He might bite. That doubt erodes confidence faster than any feint. So the next time you slap hands to roll on a clean mat, hear that whisper in your skull, your partner's most dangerous blade isn't clipped to a belt. It's locked behind a friendly smile. Civilized sport taught us to leave that blade sheathed. Kinamutay simply asks, if the world goes feral, will you? Because the human body hides a weapon older than bronze, and whether that weapon frees you or damns you depends entirely on how, why, and when you decide to unleash it.